welcome back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad y'all found me again today. My channel is all about cozy mysteries and romance books, and today I'm doing, I know I say this all the time, but this and the releases is probably my favorite videos of the month to do because one is finding out the new books that are coming out. So I was looking at my computer. And this one is all about talking about everything I read for the month of February. All the cozies I read in February. Yes, it is my February 2022 wrap up. All right, let me know what your favorite of the month was, which ones you're anticipating for March, anything else that you want to talk about with cozies, down in the comments is the place to do it. On your way down to comment, don't forget to stop, hit the subscription and the notification bell. Notification bell is going to tell you when I put out new videos each and every single week so you don't miss any. And the subscription keeps my channel growing. I'm getting ready to plan a really big celebration for my 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm having such a fun time, and it's all because of you guys. I can't stress that enough. So I'm gonna be doing some giveaways and appreciation, and we'll just have a big old bash and celebrate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, but for right now, we are talking about our February 2022, or my February 2022 wrap up in 3, 2, 1, go! First, announcements. Short, sweet, quick. 1, 2, 3. Wednesday will be our reading sprints at 6 p.m. right here on this channel, as always. Friday will be, I believe, on Storm's channel, but to be announced, but I'm pretty positive about that. Again, it's at 6 p.m. And then our live on Saturday will be right here. It is a general week, so we don't have a scavenger hunt pick or anything else. However, this Saturday's live at noon, we'll be talking about March Mystery Madness. Oh, I'm having so much fun with this. I hope the month never ends. I just want March to go on forever because I love it. So tune in for that. I'm not sure about other reading sprints, so I don't want to confuse anybody or say something that's not accurate. As far as other things going on, of course, March Mystery Madness all month long in the month of March. 2x2 is our theme. We will be doing our March Mystery Madness series read along. It was already planned, so it just worked out that we could include it for March Mystery Madness. It'll be March 19th. You need the book read by March 19th. It is the first book in our new series read along. It's a trilogy. The first one is called To Helvetica and Back. It is part of the Dangerous Type series by Paige Shelton. So we'll be reading book 2 in the month of April and so forth. Join us for that, March 19th. And Lee from Dark Roots Creations, my good friend, is doing a Goodfellas readathon. So please make sure you go and check that out and become involved in that. There's just so much to do, so much fun. But now, what we're all here for. What I read in February. Let's get to it. The first one that I read in February was Statue of Limitations. This is part of the Goddess of Green Street. It's the first book. This was a blind date pick from my friend Mel Mac. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars, 4 cups of coffee. Cannot wait to read the next one. So Athena, our main character, she moves back home to her big crazy Greek family. I'm using her words, not my own. She called them crazy, so back it up. All right, she moves back home. They own a garden center, and she's working at the garden center, and she hears this noise, and it's this mysterious, good-looking man. Of course, you know, the good-looking had to be thrown in there. And he is claiming that this statue that her grandfather had purchased, he or his family has rightful ownership of it. So in the midst of all that, someone local gets killed, and he also had ties with this statue in a way, and the mysterious man is a prime suspect in that murder. Athena, kind of works with him, but at the same time, at least in the beginning, kind of suspects him. It is so much fun. I loved her big crazy Greek family. I thought it was awesome. She has on the side has a secret blog called It's All Greek to Me. And the most hilarious part is that she talks about her family, but it's anonymous. So her family's like reading it and laughing at it and they're like, oh my gosh, people are so absurd. Why would they do that? And it's them. It's them that are doing it. It's, you know, in a way, I suppose she's making fun of them, but it's fiction and it's all in good fun. I absolutely loved it. I loved the series. There is a raccoon that's involved, although I didn't feel like a huge presence. So I don't know if we're going to feel more of a presence in the later books, but there is a little cute raccoon that right now just kind of was knocking stuff over in the greenhouse and stuff. But you only saw him like a couple times in the book, but I feel like he has more of a presence than maybe the later ones. Again, 4 cups of coffee. Loved it. Next up, I read Elementary She Read. It'll be right here. This is the first book in the Sherlock Holmes bookshop mystery series by Vicki Delaney, who I absolutely love. This was a blind date pick from my good friend, Mr. Francy at Mr. Francy Reads. Go check out and subscribe to his channel. I gave this 3 cups of coffee, 3.5. I enjoyed it. We'll read the next one. Just wasn't one of my favorites. I've never been a big Sherlock Holmes fan. Whoa, I know I probably shouldn't say that. It's just, I've never gotten into it. Our main character, not that you necessarily need to be, but I think that, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to read number 2, see what I think. So our main character, Gemma, she is English and she has moved to Cape Cod, and she lives in West London, Cape Cod, or West London on Cape Cod, and she runs her uncle's Sherlock Holmes bookshop and emporium. So what happens is this group or bus or something comes in, and she later finds that instead of taking out a book and purchasing the book, they've added something, which is somebody hid a very valuable Sherlock Holmes magazine in her store. And she thinks it's because somebody was after the person that hid it, right? So on top of that, then the person ends up dead. So really then Gemma's like, okay, something big is going on here. She's going to investigate, find out what it is. Like I said, I will definitely check out number 2. I enjoyed it. The next book I read was Chocolate Grudge. This is by Wendy Meadows. It's the first book in the, let me see the name of the series. Sorry. Of the Sweet Shop series. This was a blind date pick from my good friend Hannah at Buggie Reads. Go check out and subscribe to her channel. I'll put all the links in the description below for people who do have YouTube pages or YouTube channels is what I meant. So in this one, really enjoyed it. 4 cups of coffee. Definitely will continue. Our main character, Margaret, is just recently divorced. I don't even know if the divorce is final, but separated from her husband. And she has decided to kind of open up her dream candy store. Yes, it's a candy store. So excited. What's not to like? I loved everything about it. So the candy store is right up my alley. And then there's a bunch of quirky neighbors and townspeople and other business owners. Her son, Zach, comes and helps her open up the store. And at first she thought maybe he was going to be upset about the divorce or separation, but he was like, whoa, Mom, you needed to leave much sooner. So he was, understood that it wasn't the best of situations. One of the neighbors who nobody likes, of course, which gives us all of our suspects, is murdered. And Margaret is going to figure out what's going on. Loved it. Really, it's small town, cozy, done so well. Oh, maybe I'm giving it 4.5 cups of coffee as I'm thinking about it, because I really did. It was so, the characters, magnifique. Thank you, Hannah. Great suggestion. The next book I read was my favorite of the month, my absolute favorite of the month. I did have to think about it because there were some others that I absolutely loved as well. But this one is it. It is my favorite of the month. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to guess what it is. It's going. Death in Castle Dark. This is the first book in the Dinner and a Murder Mystery, Cozy Mystery series by Veronica Bond, who is AKA Julia Buckley, who I absolutely love. So it was no shock that I loved this book. Now, if you don't know, I love theater. I love plays. I know it's shocking because not that I'm not dramatic myself. So it shouldn't be too shocking. I'm even wearing a play shirt now. The Muni is an outdoor theater in St. Louis, Missouri. And I had season tickets there, and I would go see all the shows every summer. I miss it so much. It's one of the only things I miss about up north besides my family, of course. This is Damn Yankees. Oh, love theater, musical theater. Oh, so this was right up my alley. Our main character, Nora, wants to be a actress, and she basically gets recruited for this castle to do like dinner and murder mystery plays there. And at first she thinks that, oh, it's going to be this rundown. She doesn't really believe it's going to be like all it's cracked up to be. She goes there and it's amazing. And it's amazing until one of the other cast members is murdered. And Nora's going to figure out what's going on. I cannot even tell you how much I enjoyed this. The writing in it is just spot on, which is probably one of Julia Buckley's, at least for me, exactly what she's known for. She has got to be an auto buy for me. I love her writing style. She gets me every time. This is 5 huge cups of coffee. My favorite read of February. So good. And I cannot wait for book number 2. Next up, I read Corpse in the Crystal Ball right here. This is the second book in the Fortune Teller Cozy Mystery series by Carrie Lee Townsend. I love this cover. Loved this book. I gave it 4 cups of coffee on Goodreads, but really it's like a 3.5 read because although I loved it and I'm loving this series, there are some things about it that I wish were different. I don't like how much focus there is on her love life. There's always usually a romance and cozy mysteries, and even every once in a while a love triangle. But this is very focused on the love interest, and I'm just like, okay, I don't, let's get back to the town and the mystery. In this one, our main character, psychic Sunshine Meadows, she goes by Sunny. She is just settling in because as soon as she moved to the town that she lives in, which is called Divinity, it's in upstate New York, she was accused of murder in the first book. So now everything kind of settled down, and her love interest that I'm talking about are kind of going back and forth. They like each other, they don't like each other, that sort of thing. His ex-girlfriend comes back to town, and Sunny thinks that she wants to get back together with him, and she also believes that Mitch wants her back, and there's a lot of miscommunication. And then Isabel, which is the ex-girlfriend, goes missing. Then they find her, and she has been killed. And Isabel was killed in the woods, and she like scratched or did something to where it looks like she was trying to write Mitch's name. And so then he becomes a prime suspect. He's put on like suspension and all that kind of stuff. And so Sunny is trying to figure out what is going on. So again, I didn't like how much was focused on the love interest. The other thing that bothers me is it's one thing for the police to be okay with the amateur sleuth helping, not like, because it's a breath of fresh air when they're not always like, stay out of it. But this one is just a little too agreeable and unrealistic in the other direction. They almost make her like a deputy without any training, anything. And he's always like, she's a part of our group and you need to, and it just feels very unrealistic to me. Again, though, at the end of the day, I am loving this series. I will definitely be reading the next one. I don't remember how many are in the series, but I'm always looking for a good fortune teller cozy because those are kind of the paranormals I like. That's not scary. It's just more fun, quirky. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. The next book I read was A Nun Holy Murder. This was the first book in the Deadly Wedding Cozy Mystery series. So I used this for the wedding scavenger hunt pick. I had to think if it was a blind date or what it was. It was for the wedding scavenger hunt pick. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I'll check out number 2, but there's some things about the writing that I just didn't enjoy. It needs cleaned up quite a bit, and I can look over some of it, but what bothered me about the writing is sometimes I felt like there was just information left out, and so you were kind of like, just spinning in chaos where you didn't know what was going on. Even I don't know. I just, there were problems with the writing. I really hope to check in with book number 2. And, you know, a lot of times this is a first book in the series. I don't know if it's the author's first book, but I will definitely give them some grace and leeway and check out the second one because overall it is enjoyable. So our main character, Daisy, she is a wedding planner and she is a traveling wedding planner, but I'm not sure if she goes out of Italy. So I know she travels around Italy. She's from Italy, and the wedding that she does in this book is in Italy, but she did have to travel for it. So I don't know if eventually we'll see other areas of the world. I have no idea. And in this one, the wedding is being held at a convent, like on the convent grounds and the gardens and everything like that. And a nun is murdered. The other part of this that I didn't care for was the motive and the actual like action of killing the person was kind of creepy to me. It just creeped me out a little, and I didn't care for it. Again, I say that, gave it 3 cups of coffee, which means I totally enjoyed it and will be checking out number 2. Next up, I read Murder in the Books. This is the first book in the Blue Ridge Library Cozy Mystery series by Victoria Gilbert. I believe I'd read a few of these out of order, but I hadn't read the first one, so I was like, whoa, gotta get that done. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I enjoy library cozies. I enjoyed this one, but there was a lot going on. And sometimes I'm not a fan of what I just feel like is filler in a book. And I felt like this book could have been a lot shorter, and a lot of the stuff in it was just long. Still really enjoyed it. It's a library cozy. Our main character, Amy, she moves back to live with her aunt, and she takes over the library, which is great. And there's a lot of quirky characters there, and I loved that. And then next door moves in Richard, who I loved. He is a dancer and choreographer, and he inherited the house next door, and there's an old murder that he wants Amy's help in investigating and clearing. It's and I'm, again, maybe that's part of the reason I didn't love this particular book either, is because it was an old murder. However, stuff does happen in current times, and Amy and Richard are going to find out what is going on. I will definitely tune in to book number 2. Gave it 3 cups of coffee. Enjoyed it. Next up, I read another favorite of the month. Absolutely love this. It was Larceny in Liverpool. This is the first book in a Beatles cozy mystery series. This is by Cal Smag. I hope I'm saying that right. This was a blind date pick from my good friend Sherry. Oh, Sherry, I loved it. Thank you for suggesting this. It was so much fun. And it was really different in a lot of ways. It was so refreshing as a cozy. There, for one, no murder happens, just mystery. Loved it. I mean, I don't mind the murder in cozy mysteries. I mean, that's, I know it's part of it, but it was just refreshing to have a cozy that was still a mystery, but didn't have a murder. The other thing I thought was really interesting about the way that this was set up. So our main character, Helen, is thinking back to when she was like 17 years old in 1962 and telling us about her time when she first starts working for the Beatles like fan club. And it's really cool because we get the personality of the individual Beatles. They interact with her, and whether it's true or not, it was just really funny and fun to see how each of them individually interacted with her, like a personality to each one. I loved it. 4.5 cups of coffee. Can't wait to read the next one. Sherry, great suggestion. Loved it. Really, this is a refreshing cozy that y'all need to check out. It's very different and so fun. Next up, I read A Murderous Macaron, another 5-step. Try to combine stars and cups. Another 5 cups of coffee. Love this series. It is, It is great. It is great. So in this one, our main character, Allison, she is settling into her shop. I love it. It's kind of like a boardwalk on the beach. There's all sorts of quirky side characters that like run businesses around her. And it just feels so board-like and carnival-like. And I love it. Oh, so good. And in this one, so this guy films videos. It sounds like maybe like a YouTube or something along that line. And he does like crazy stunts and like prank videos and just silly stuff. But some of it can be harmful. So like he'll go into a restaurant and order something and then like spit it out and act like it's disgusting. Well, it's probably funny for his videos and he probably gets a lot of views, but it probably really hurts those restaurants and businesses. And that's what happens in this one. So he's coming to the boardwalk or whatever, the beachfront whatever they call it. And some of the businesses really want the exposure, but they also know that he can be, sometimes a little not so nice on purpose. Again, well, he ends up picking Allison's shop as well as a couple others, and he tries her macarons and he like spits it out on video and acts like it's poisonous or that it just was disgusting. Sorry, I don't think he acts like it's poisonous. I think he acts like it's disgusting. And so Allison gets very upset. There's a big altercation and he ends up dead later and it's poisoned. And she's the last one, or he dies in her shop. I'm sorry, he dies in her shop. I didn't want to get mixed up with other books, but that is true. He dies in her shop and it is poison. And so of course they think that she did it. But almost everybody on the boardwalk could be a suspect because he went into other businesses and also did and harassed some of them as well. So good. 5 cups of coffee. This series, I love everything about it. Can't wait to read the next one. The next book that I read was The Watchman of Rothenburg Dies. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. It was a blind date pick from my good friend Storm at Storm Reads, and her channel will be in the description below. Make sure you go and subscribe. It is the first book in the Homeswappers series by Adriana Liccio. Sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. This has such a cool premise, but it wasn't well executed. I will be reading the second one because again, I don't know how much this, how much she's written. If this is her debut novel, it deserves some grace, and I'm going to check out the next one because again, it's got a really cool premise. So we have 2 main characters, which would be great for 2x2 in March Mystery Madness. They are retired school teachers and they have decided to share their life so that they can do more traveling, meaning they moved in together, so they only have one mortgage or one rent, whatever it is. They share a car, they share all these things so that then they have the extra money to go and travel, which I thought was a wonderful idea. On top of that, they save more money by doing home swapping. I think that is really cool. I love this idea. Instead of staying at like a hotel, you're actually in the community. I love it. So in the first one, the two teachers swap with a family in Germany, I believe in Germany, and they live in Italy. One of the main characters is kind of not likable, although I do think she gets better, much better. So I enjoyed that. The stuff about the writing that threw me off was, it was another one I felt like a lot of stuff wasn't explained well, and you just felt like you were like out there floating in the sea and didn't have a clue what was going on. Even the first line I felt like needed some sentences above it to make it make sense. It just felt very like thrown into a middle of a story. I will check out the second one. I love the concept. We'll see how it goes. Next up, I read Read It and Weep. This is number 4 in the Library of Lovers Cozy Mystery Series. Gave it big ol' 4 cups of coffee. I absolutely love this series. Again, it's another library series. It revolves around books, and I love it. Our main character is Lindsay. She is helping with the production of Shakespeare, A New character is introduced. A new, like, reoccurring character is introduced in this one. Y'all know, if you read it, who I'm talking about. And Robbie, is the character that's reoccurring, that's introduced in this one. He is an actor, and he kind of is being targeted in this, like, somebody may be trying to kill our good friend Robbie. And, well, I don't know about good friend, but our friend Robbie. That might be a stretch too, but you get it. And Lindsay's just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Loved it. 4 cups of coffee. It was a great read. I've loved every book in this series. Well, that's not true. I've liked every book in this series. There was one that was like a cold case I didn't love, but that's just because I'm not a big cold case person. But this series is so much fun, and it would be one that I would recommend for people to start with as far as cozies. It's just so intriguing and engaging. Love it. Next up, I read The Real Macabre right here. This is the 13th book in the Meg Langslow Cozy Mystery Series by Donna Andrews. Loved it. Gave it 4 cups of coffee. I've loved every book in this series. It's so much fun. In this one, the local animal shelter is has repealed their no-kill policy. And so the grandpa, who is a zoologist, is like, So he steals all the animals. Well, him and some other people steal all the animals. So Meg, like, goes downstairs in the middle of the night because, you know, she has newborn twins. She goes downstairs in the middle of the night, and there's all these animals in her living room, and it's so funny. That's one of the things I love about this series is it is so funny. It's absurd, but hilarious. So in the midst of them trying to hide out these animals and get the shelter to change their policy and all these other things, an animal activist is killed, and Meg, of course, is on the case. Loved it. 4 cups of coffee. Such a good series. This is on my SAS, and I can't wait to get to more of them. Next up, I read Navy Brides. I read the bind-up of books 1 through 3. This was for Storm at Storm Reads her retro romance readathon. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I really love Debbie MACOMBER, but maybe it was, I don't know if it was her older stuff or just because it was written in the late 80s, it would just come across as so cheesy. Almost like cheesy where it's hard to read cheesy. They were sweet books. If you've read Debbie MACOMBER's writing, you know she does a lot of Hallmark stuff. So I love that, but it just couldn't get behind the cheese factor. I don't really have much to say about them. I gave it overall 3 cups of coffee. That's about it. I don't think, let me add, I forgot. I don't think that that's the series that's going to get me back into romance reading. But Debbie MACOMBER might be, but not that particular series. Next up, I read Mum's the Word. This is the first book in the Flower Shop Cozy Mystery Series by Kate Collins. I read this for a blind date from my good friend Sophia, who is very active in our Killing Time with Cozies. I loved it. Thank you, Sophia. This was a great suggestion. This was on my TBR for so long, and I have no idea why I didn't get to it. I think maybe I thought I wouldn't get into a Flower Shop Cozy. I loved it. Our main character, Abby, she was in law school and she flunks out. She takes over, those were her words, not mine. She takes over a flower shop that she had worked at part-time. Of course, there is a murder. We're also introduced to a character that I'm pretty sure is going to be a love interest. I mean, that's where we're going. It's just such a fun, lighthearted series. I can't wait to read another one. I loved it. The last book that I read in February was Without a Brew. This is the 4th book in the Sloan Krausecozy mystery series. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. It was probably my least favorite of the series. However, I love this series. It's probably my favorite series by her. I just really enjoy it. This one, there were parts of it I loved, just like usual. The only thing that really drug it down for me was there is a overarching story of Sloane's growing up and her past and her foster care, and I didn't like the direction they took it. It's a personal preference, just didn't care for it. Other than that, it was great as usual. So in this one, they're still trying to prepare their bed and breakfast, so Our main character, Sloan, works for Nitro, which is a, what is it called? A microbrewery. And the microbrewery, of course, has like a bar downstairs and all that. But like he's going to turn the upstairs of his building into like a bed and breakfast where they can have like a beer and bed and breakfast experience, which sounds really fun. So they're preparing for that, getting things ready. And suddenly everybody needs a room. So there's a young couple celebrating an anniversary. They need a room. There's this really obnoxious group of skiers or something that come in. And one of them in particular is very hoity-toity. And he's like, look how expensive my watch is. And look how much money I can throw down here. And he's just one of those. And he's not likable in any way. And then there's this woman by herself that comes in and needs a room. Just all of a sudden everybody needs to stay. This part of it, because it kind of became a locked room, and not completely, but in a lot of ways, which I love those kind of mysteries. And I love Nitro and the concept of the brewery with the bed and breakfast. So I enjoyed all that. Again, what brought down the story for me is just the overarching story of what is going on with Sloane's family growing up. Other people might love it. Just personally, I didn't care the direction that it took. It might completely veer another way in book number 5. We'll have to see and find out. That was everything I read in the month of February. I did not read the whole last week in February while I was on vacation. Didn't read a single bit. Was gone the entire time and sick. So I am back with vengeance for this month in March Mystery Madness. And until next time, give me a thumbs up and may all your future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everybody.